Clerk of the Senate announces that the Senate has concurred in House amendment with further amendment and title amendment and passed committee substitute for Senate Bill 456 defining men and women.
The message will be received. Gentleman the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Senate amended the House floor amendment by changing the proviso to read, "Nothing in this article should be construed as authorizing an examination of a minor for purposes of determining the minor's biological sex. The biological sex of a minor is determined by reference to the biological sex of the minor recorded at the minor's time of birth. The Senate also amended the title to reflect the amendment. The amendment does no harm to the intent of the House floor amendment. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I move the House concur with the further amendment of the Senate and the title amendment.
The gentleman from the first has moved that the House concur in the Senate amendment on Senate Bill 456. This is a debatable question. Is there debate on the motion? Gentleman from the 54th District, Pushkin is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the Majority Leader yield?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, you said that in your opinion, the Senate amendment does no harm to the floor amendment that was adopted here in the House?
To the intent of the House floor amendment, correct.
Okay. Would you agree that they removed it? They struck the entirety of the amendment?
Yeah, they amended the House floor amendment and changed it to the proviso, which I just read.
By striking the remainder of the proviso, which is the entirety of the amendment?
Correct.
Okay, so they struck the amendment. So I'd say that, to say it does no harm to it, they removed it completely, the floor amendment that was adopted here. Thank you for yielding. Mr. Speaker, briefly.
The gentleman is recognized.
Okay. The amendment that they struck, I think upon reading it further, it's a fairly dangerous amendment. So I'm going to speak in favor of the motion to the point of inquiry real quick. We're going to be voting on the Senate amendment first and then voting on final passage.
Gentleman is correct.
It will be a voice vote on the Senate amendment and then we go on record for final passage.
Gentleman is correct.
Thank you. Because this amendment that came out through the work of the House is actually incredibly dangerous, Mr. Speaker. It says that nothing in this article may be construed as authorizing any person other than a treating health care provider. Any person other than a treating health care provider to conduct one of these exams on a minor child for purpose of verifying biological sex without consent of the child's parent, guardian, or custodian. And I admire your work as an attorney, sir. I would trust that you would agree with me on this. What that actually does is say that the school nurse doesn't need consent to do these examinations. That's what that amendment says. That's what we passed out of here. So I would agree with the Senate on this. That's a dangerous amendment that passed out of this body to allow for these types of examinations on children without parental consent. That's what it does. The Senate agrees. They took it out for that very reason. So I'm glad that they're really more in line with the amendment that my other friend from Kanawha here offered. It unfortunately wasn't passed. It actually would have protected children from these unwanted examinations. And it's disturbing to me that this is the type of legislation we're taking up and have to have this rushed work out of here just to prove some political point when you're passing flawed legislation that puts children at risk because you're trying to score political points and have postcard material. Postcards work both ways. This was a horrible amendment. Thank God they took it out.
Gentleman from the 80th District, Williams is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the Majority Leader continue to yield, please?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I've been reading about something, expressio unius est exclusio alterius. I wish that was a Harry Potter spell. That'd be more fun, but it's Latin. And if there's anyone in this body who could tell us what that means, it would be you, but I'm not going to put you on the spot. It's essentially the expression of one thing is the exclusion of the other. And what I'm getting at here is The amendment specifically lists minor and birth certificate. So minor is being created as a specific class, which then leaves those who have attained the age of majority as a separate class. Will adults be required to undergo checks because they are not listed in any way?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, this amendment doesn't address the point you're making.
But it does address minors, and it speaks to how you would determine the gender of a minor, but it's completely silent on adults. Don't you think that if we're being prescriptive in one area, then that leaves open any possibility with the other class that isn't discussed?
Yeah, it's silent in the bill. That would be a matter of legal interpretation.
Okay, thank you.
Question again is on the motion offered by the gentleman from the first that the House concur in the Senate amendment with further amendment on Senate Bill 456. Is there further debate on that motion? If there is not, those in favor of adoption of the gentleman's motion will please say aye. Aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. Chair declares the motion adopted. The question now before the House is shall the bill pass is a debatable question. Is there debate on the question? Is there debate on the question? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result on this question. There were 90 ayes, 8 nays, and 2 members absent. Majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 456.
Are there further title amendments? If not, the title as amended by the Senate and concurred in by the House, read by the clerk, will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Further Senate messages?